This is Sweet Charles speaking. Is this Dustin?
This is Dustin. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I am excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time out with me today.
I appreciate you wanting to talk to me.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of yours. It's an honor to be speaking with you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, first, can you talk a bit about your latest album, Universal Love, if the listeners haven't had a chance to hear it yet?
Oh, yeah. Me and my wife, we sort of like collaborated on it, you know, and wrote a couple tunes together on it and decided to put it out because with all the stuff that's happening, you know, nowadays, I think it's a message that should be put out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the new stuff, it sounds great. You sound like you haven't missed a beat.
Thank you very much. It's really and truly, it's a blessing from the man upstairs to keep me going. I'll put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And the new stuff from Universal Love, I mean, it sounds like it belongs, on the radio today. It doesn't sound dated. You know, it's right in there with all the new stuff. It's great.
Yeah, man. Dustin, I'm hoping that you can, do something with it to put it out there, on your station and let the people know that I'm still around, I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I still got music in my heart for people.
Excellent. Yeah, I will definitely do what I can. And you got a lot of great guest musicians on the album, too. A lot of people playing with you.
Oh, yeah. We'll see, like Fred, of course, when I joined James, we became real good friends, and did a lot of stuff together, and then like on my first album, the Sweet Charles album, he produced it with me, So Fred and I have been good friends for a long time, and also with the guitars and the bass player and the drummer, Tony Blunt, who was with Parliament, for a while.
Sure.
But yeah, I had some good musicians, and we had the same chemistry going. That's what I loved about it.
Well, Charles, I know you're living over in the Netherlands now. What's the definitely a different change of pace? What's the music scene like over there? Is it much different than it is here in the States?
Well, yeah, it is different, but it's still music, and like. What I realized is that people all over the world have their own taste of music. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But the people over here, they know that, I was with James for a while, and then, did thing with Aretha Franklin and with Michael Jackson and stuff. And I have had the opportunity to do a couple of things with a couple of Dutch groups over here. And, it's good. It's good because, I don't try to push my music into people, that's not into my music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody have their own taste of music, whether it's country, R&B, or top 40, or whatever. So I love it over here. It's real nice and peaceful. I have a nice family and everything over here.
Yeah, that's great that things have worked out the way they did. With your story, Charles, I mean, the stuff that you've been through over your life almost could be made into a movie, I think.
Oh yeah. Man, I was given the opportunities that a lot of people would have loved to have had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I give all the thanks to the man upstairs for putting me with these people, and also for embedding the musical thing into me, even though I took music in school, but he gave me an opportunity. He gave me a spiritual thing, I put it like that, to advance the stuff that I had learned in music. And then I had the opportunity to run into people, like Ray Charles and, Jimi Hendrix, and stuff like when I was living in Nashville. And I mean a bunch of people,
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about those early days when you were playing with Jimmy and Billy Cox. You were actually playing the drums back then.
Yes. Yes, you knew that. Yeah. We used to jam at this club in Nashville called Club Del Maraca, which was on Jefferson Street, which all the little, the black clubs were. And then the club Stillaway, but Hendrix and Billy Cox and myself, we're still good friends.
And I love...
Still good friends.
Yeah, that's great. And I love, when you made the switch over to the guitar, thanks in part to a deal with Curtis Mayfield. That's such a cool story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, Dustin, what happened was, I was working at this motel in Nashville, the El Dorado, and like I was doing the yard work, but like Curtis now used to come to Nashville and record, and then they would stay at this hotel because they was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 100 miles from Nashville. So, like, when he would come in there, I'd see his guitar, in the back seat, and I asked him, Mr. Mayfield, if I can mess with your guitar, I'll wash your car for you. He said, okay, Blood, but don't scratch my car. But it was, hey, things like that, that started me messing with the guitar and bass and, being familiar with things, you know what I'm saying?
Eventually, of course, you wound up playing with James Brown, playing the bass. And I wanted to ask you, how you kind of developed your sound, your technique with playing the bass. That's a style everyone's copied, continues to copy to this day.
Yeah, well, see, Dustin, let me put it like this. I'm not the best bass player in the world, but I had a chemistry that fit what James wanted, and that's what made my thing, so different, It stood out, I put it like this. It stood out. But I wasn't the best, I wasn't the best, but I had a style. I put it like that. And then, I had to play keys, I had to play keyboards with James and, do the arrangements and stuff, which was, it was an opportunity, that was given to me. And thanks to Fred Wesley, when Fred quit James, Fred called James and told James that he wanted me to be the band leader because I had a thing about me. So it worked.
Yeah, definitely worked. You guys recorded some of the greatest music, ever made. Could you sense early on, could you sense that, something was happening there? You guys were creating a new genre.
Yeah, we used to play at this club in Minnesota called the Caboose.
Sure.
And that's where Prince and his father used to come all the time. And like he used to ask me and Maceo if they could, sit on the side of the stage and watch James' show. So yeah, I used to let him do it. Him and his dad. So that's how I made that connection with Prince. And then later, when I was doing some stuff with Maceo, we played, Prince's place at Paisley Park. a couple of times. And then when I was with James, we also did First Street Live, which that was Prince's Club, where he did Purple Rain, the movie.
Sure.
Yeah, that was First Street Live. That was Prince's Club. So, did a thing in there, Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff, Dustin.
Yeah, and especially, around that time, you guys recorded an incredible amount of music, with the J.B.s and, all the different, Lynn Collins and all the side projects. I mean, you were really the backbone behind all that stuff.
I played bass, on Lynn Collins stuff. Played bass on Marva Whitney, on that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we did Living in America, in the movie Rocky IV, with Stallone.
Yep.
I mean, that was great. I mean, did a lot of stuff, Dustin.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm glad to be here to talk to you about it. Believe me.
Well, I'm glad to be talking with you, and I wanted to ask you too. You brought it up, Rocky IV, one of my favorite movies, and I wanted to ask you your memories of working on the film.
Oh yeah. See what happened with that was I was the band leader at the time, and when we went to Vegas, that's where they shot the film in the MGM Grand. Well, Stallone asked me, Sweets, can you figure out a way to where we can do this? Blah, 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 blah. And everything will be all right. And then he said, what I need for you to do is figure out a way to exchange this microphone that James started singing on. It was a microphone on a stand. And then he said, I need for you to figure out a way to get him this cordless at the end, almost at the end of the tune. Can you do that? So James said, Mr. Lowe, Sweets can do about anything. So I said, give me a couple of minutes to work it out. So I did. I worked it out. So then, like in the movie, if you watch the movie, you'll see me like moonwalking back between the girls where they was on the stage with James. That's when I had switched the microphone. I took the one from the stand and gave James the wireless cord, and then you could see me moving backwards through the girls in that movie. So Stallone gave me a piece of Rocky IV. So, whenever they show it in the theaters or something or on TV, I get a check from SAG, from Screen's Actors Guild.
Wow. That's awesome.
That was a blessing. But Stallone was a good cat, man. He was a nice guy to work with.
Well, Charles,
really was.
Yeah, you've done so much. Recorded albums with Maceo, as you mentioned, and your solo stuff. It must be great, with the new one, Universal Love, to be in charge of everything and just kind of do what you want to do.
Yeah. It's it was a blessing, like I said, for me to have this talent that was given to me from the man upstairs to do this and to work out things and still remain a normal human being. I'll put it like that. Because I learned a lot doing this, Doing this, I learned the do's and I learned the don'ts. And I used to watch what people did, and I said, no, that's not good. And it has kept me walking straight.
Excellent.
And I appreciate it.
Well, Charles, are you still playing a lot of shows these days over in the Netherlands?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 shows a year. For instance, I do a lot of stuff in Germany. I got some good fans in Germany. I just did a performance there. When was it? A couple of months ago, and I also did a couple of things in London, and England, and in France. You know, a couple of things. Yeah, but I'm still working, but not as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really don't want to work a whole lot. I want to enjoy the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you worked enough in those days for probably 5-6 careers, so you deserve a break for sure.
Yeah. But I appreciate the time and the opportunities that was given to me from a lot of different directions. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And people like Ice Cube, he called me, and I co-wrote a song with him. You Can't Play With My Yo-Yo.
Oh,
My
yeah.
Yo-Yo, This Girl.
Yep.
It was in the Boys of the Hood movie. So I'm part writer of that. And then this group, Naughty by Nature, called and asked me if they could do one of my tunes. This other group, Rested Development, it was a tune that I wrote called Hang Out and Hustle. So I've had a lot of people, and then Honey and Spice, they asked me if they could do one of the other tunes that I did, Yes It's You, that I did on the Sweet Charles album. So a lot of people has been doing my stuff.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much of an influence you've had on, everybody. You mentioned Prince and all these other guys. Your sound, your influence is still out there, and it'll be out there for years to come.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, Dustin. I really hope so. And you really don't know how much I appreciate you calling and talking to me about, the things that I've done in the past. And I'm glad, and I appreciate you talking about my new stuff, the Universal Love stuff. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Charles, it's been an honor speaking with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.